Well, we welcome you back to the DG Media and the Don and Gino weekly update. That's right, you're economic journalists now for almost 12 years, and we rebooted it all up again because there's a lot of shaky news out there, and we want to make sure you're in the actual know of real news every single week.
Well, remember that fear comes from volatility, and there's plenty of that out there right now. And when you have fear, that also brings opportunities. So remember that people buy when people are fearful and sell when people are confident. So be careful with all this euphoria in the stock market, euphoria in crypto. There's things going on behind the scenes, and the bond market's been telling that story, hasn't it, Don?
Yeah, it has. I mean, there's a lot of fear of inflation because some of the reports are coming back. Everybody's getting euphoric about the vaccines and how that's going to make the economy just rebound just like that. But we know it takes time. Everybody's excited about it, as are we, because everyone wants to get out of this whole pandemic thing where a lot of people are losing close people, businesses are suffering. So we want all out of it. But we want to give you the know of how it affects the markets, both the financial markets and the real estate markets.
Yeah, and so one of the ways it affects the real estate markets is we've had phenomenal home price appreciation, which is scaring a lot of people, thinking that we're in a real estate bubble as well. And we talked a little bit about that last week, that we don't foresee any real estate bubble yet. We will keep an eye on it, but here's a great chart to talk about it a little bit.
That's right. So this chart talks about one of the factors, one of the key factors. We give you three key factors why we don't feel we're going into a housing bubble. And one of them was most people have equity. Back in the bubble, everybody was actually getting into homes with zero down in a lot of cases, or stated income loans or no income loans, qualifying for homes that they really couldn't afford and so forth. In this case, I think over 37% of Americans actually own their home free and clear, and 56% have a substantial amount of equity. And therefore, you're not going to walk away from a home, even if you lose your job and you have to, you can sell it.
Yeah, I think one of the things to look at on this chart is that you have almost 10 years of very steady equity growth. So it hasn't been, we would be concerned if we saw some massive equity growth happen in not a straight line, if you have some kind of a weird formation. But because it's been such a steady growth line, it seems very sustainable in the near future.
Yeah, it's a good point. That's the key of also housing bubbles, is the steep peaks and then there's a fall. Right now, we've seen steady appreciation since the bottom, of course, back that we all went through starting in 2008. And it's been steady ever since. In fact, right now, Americans have over $20 trillion in equity. That's a record. And you'll see a little dip in the chart. And that was, of course, because of the pandemic. We did have a little drop in prices because people weren't buying homes at that point. But that's why we're having a dramatic increase up. But we're going back to that normal trend line. And that's a sign.
Yeah. Now, we will watch out, and we will keep an eye on this. If you see that home appreciation start to go to 12, 13, 14%, and you start to see the real estate market continue to accelerate, that would be something to be careful with, something to keep an eye on. For the moment, we don't see that happening. We just see us getting back to right where we were, just pre-pandemic levels, with better interest rates, of course. So that's helping everybody. And, something that not a lot of people have talked about, but one of the reasons the government did what they did and stimulated interest rates is so that people had spending money. With the thousands of dollars that we've saved people were able to move up into bigger homes at the same payment. People were able to refinance their homes, debt consolidate, and do all these other things. That's why the economy is still somewhat afloat, even though we're in the face of the pandemic.
And then we also feel that appreciation levels will come back to a more norm. They were up between 7 to 15% throughout the nation in certain regions. We think it will come down to a more modest 5 to 7%. It'll still be strong, and it will happen. But two factors are going to come into play that will help the appreciation levels relax some. Two reasons. One, home builders are catching up. They believe in the market, have believed in the market. It just takes time to catch up, get the permits, build the homes and stores. So more inventory is coming. Plus, we believe that there's a lot more inventory coming from you, because a lot of homeowners were afraid to sell their home during the coronavirus days because they didn't want people coming in their home. They were fearful of their jobs and so forth. But now the vaccine coming back in, a lot of you get more confident. So we've lost about 36% of the homes we normally would have on the market that will be coming back on the market. So that's good news for you buyers, that you'll have more inventory and rates being so low, affordability is amazing because rates they came up a little bit, but they're back to where they were just in June when we were at some of the peaks in the real estate market. So rates are still incredible, right, Gino?
Yeah, so going into this season, we know we're going to have a little more inventory. Builders are still going to struggle because it's taking a long time to build homes because it's hard to get supplies sometimes.
Yeah.
So I know that there's a little bit of the supply chain slightly broken, so we're not going to get as much from builders as we'd like to. But we're definitely going to see better inventory. And then rates are going to rise a little bit throughout the end of the year. So take action now because they're going to slowly start to rise. And before you know it, we'll be back into the 4% range. And that's what will stabilize the market. So if we could end up with 4% rates, 4.25% rates, 5% appreciation, that really gives us a recipe for long-term success in real estate.
Yeah, and you always say, Gino, you always astutely tell everybody that rates affect your affordability more than price. So now's a great time to get into your first home or your next home, your bigger home or whatever, or pulling the cash out to improve your home. Now is a great time to do that. And we're always ready to answer any of your questions. We appreciate you being part of DG Media's podcast, formerly National Real Estate Cafe. And you can always find out more by going to dgmediainc.com. dgmediainc.com has all our information about our TV show that we do on a monthly basis, American Dream TV. How about food adventures? Check out our food adventures stuff.
That's the best part of our day.
I mean, we do so much fun stuff, but we'd love to go to dgmediainc.com. Check out the Momentum Builder event we're putting on in March. It's going to be one of the best sales training event of the year, week-long event for $149 with the discount code of DGmedia. 2021, you get a discount code. So thank you for being part of our weekly show. Your economic journalist, Don and Gino, thank you for joining us.
See you next week.